Hi, I'm Tim Churchill from Tim Talk, and today I have with me John Cruz, who is the Republican candidate seeking election to the Massachusetts House of Representatives in the 10th Plymouth District. Currently, the seat is held by Democrat Michelle Dubois. As of right now, the general state election date will be held on November 6th. Mr. Cruz, thank you for being here today.
Thank you for having me on your program today, Tim.
All right. For those of us who don't know you, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, as you said, my name is John Cruz, and I'm a candidate for state representative. I live in West Bridgewater. I'm a small business owner. I own a plumbing shop. But I think one of the most important reasons is that I'm also a former state representative. I served back in the 1990s. So I'm familiar with the workings up on Beacon Hill. Also in West Bridgewater, I'm been a member of the Call Fire Department for 37 years. I'm the chairman of the Board of Health. I'm the local plumbing and gas inspector in West Bridgewater as well. And also, I was appointed by Governor Baker 2 years ago to be on the state plumbing board in Boston. So,
nice. What towns does your district represent?
Well, it's all of West Bridgewater, East Bridgewater, Precinct 1, and Brockton, Ward 4, Precincts B and C, Ward 5, Precincts B, C, and D, and all of Ward 6.
All right. What are the roles and responsibilities of a state rep?
The roles and responsibilities of the state rep is pretty much to be the voice of the constituent, of the voter, if you will, in the district, to move to whatever the problem that they have, whatever agency that they have, to deal with it accordingly and solve their issue. It's funny you mention that because back in my other life as a state rep, we were known that we were myself and my legislative aide were the group to get the legislative issues resolved. The other representatives of Brockton and the Senator of Brockton would come to us for our guidance and our assistance because at the same time we were Republican, they were Democrats, and the governor was a Republican as well, Governor Weld. So they came to us to make waves to get things accomplished for the whole city of Brockton and, of course, the town of West Bridgewater. That's what it's all about, to solve the problems, the questions that arise from the taxpayer. That's what they're there for. We're their conduit to state government, and that's what I did.
How has your campaign been since the September primaries?
Well, I have to say that we've only been in the campaign for about 2 weeks, 2 months now, but it's been a humbling experience. I mean, election day, I had people come up to me that I haven't known or I've seen around town, but I haven't known them, coming up to me telling me that the only reason that they're there is to vote for me, to do a write-in ballot. And as you know, we were quite successful. We needed, 150 write-ins, and we received overall in the whole district, I think close to 800. So it's been a humbling experience. A lot of people showing their support for me, showing out their, going to the polls that day to cast a ballot for me. And I might say not just Republicans, not just independents. I also received a tremendous amount of votes on the Democratic ticket as well as a write-in. So it shows the support that's out there crosses party lines.
I'm glad. Back in 1990, you were a state representative. Can you tell us a little bit about your experiences back then and what bills you supported when you were in office?
Well, that was a while ago, but it's not so much as the bills that I supported, it's actually what I did. And I think in order to see where someone's going to go, you need to see where they've been. Back in 1990, there was a fiscal crisis looming throughout the state. Brockton, more specifically, had some issues where they had a hard time making payroll. And I recall back in February, my second month in office, February of 1991, the mayor of the city of Brockton approaching me saying, "John, we don't have enough money for payroll." At that time, I reached out to Governor Weld and to the members of the Republican caucus, telling them the city's dire consequences, that if they don't make, obviously, payroll, we've got some serious issues. To make a long story short, we were able to secure the $5 million local aid advancement. And also, I mean, some of the other things that I've done, even though I was in office for 1 year, I mean, the town of West Bridgewater, we built a library back in the 80s. And because of the financial crisis in the 80s and 90s, the money that we were due back for our library reimbursement was extended a few years. I was fortunate enough to get our library money back ahead, 7 years ahead of schedule. I think it was like 180 grand. And also there was an issue with some radio towers that the Plymouth County Fire Chiefs came to me about. They needed to replace radios in the Plymouth County Fire Towers, and we secured funding for that as well. But the committees that I sat on were Housing and Urban Development, Judiciary, and Elder Affairs. So, but those are the committees that I sat on.
Nice. Seems like you've got a lot of experience. What do you think the biggest changes have been in this district since 2014?
I think one of the biggest changes is the incumbent. The current state representative, I think, is just totally out of reality in terms of where the district is going or where the needs are. It seems that the current representative is more concerned about her own agenda as opposed to the people that live in the district. She's just not right for the district. I've knocked on a lot of doors in Brockton, and I've received the feedback from the current state representative.
The district you're running for covers large urban city and small rural towns. What do you think are some of the challenges, and how have you addressed making both sides feel like they're addressed?
Well, even though there's similarities that exist between the two, I mean, the city of Brockton and, of course, the towns of East Bridgewater and West Bridgewater, I think it's important for public safety. Mm-hmm. Public safety is important. I mean, that's a common need of all the people that are involved in the area, public safety. And the other issue is education dollars. We need to make sure that we get our fair share of education dollars back to the communities. I mean, we pay our income taxes to the state, and the state, through a formula, will return our taxes back through Chapter 90 money. That's what the legislator's job is all about. Make sure that we get our fair share back. I'm your voice up there on Beacon Hill. I will be the voice of the people up there on Beacon Hill.
What are some similarities and differences you see in West Bridgewater and the parts of Brockton and East Bridgewater that this district represent?
Well, obviously we have the city, and we have an urban area and rural areas. I think the similarities are similar, I should say. You know, the people have their needs. They need to reach out to government. They need to find out what agency they need to get assistance. But I think one of the most important issues is sanctuary city status. Mm-hmm. I've knocked on a lot of doors in Brockton and West Bridgewater. I met a lot of people in East Bridgewater and West Bridgewater. And the concern that they have is sanctuary city and sanctuary state status for Massachusetts. My opponent sponsored sanctuary state legislation for Massachusetts. And that's a huge concern of theirs. So I think that's one big area that needs to be addressed and corrected.
What do you think is the most important issue in West Bridgewater right now?
I think we've got an issue with a lot of affordable housing units coming up. Mm-hmm. And I think it's the 40B. It seems like we have a couple of them popping up throughout the certain areas of the town. And I think we need to look at that on a whole. Obviously, we need to address the needs of the community in terms of meeting the 10% quota for affordable housing units. But then again, we also need to address the needs of the total community. Just seems like there's more and more popping up. And of course, it's also property taxes. Property taxes is huge. I've attended a few meetings at the Board of Assessors meeting, and there's been issues in terms of taxpayers coming up voicing their concerns. And so that's the two issues that I see.
What do you think are the three greatest needs in Massachusetts right now?
Well, I think right now the issue that we all see in front of us is the opioid crisis. That's huge. It's been ongoing, and I think that Governor Baker and Lieutenant Governor Polito have put forth some measures that hopefully can eliminate some of the effects of the opioids that are out there. Other things is taxes. I mean, we're paying a lot more taxes in Massachusetts. I mean, the taxes have gone up in the past decade, even though it was a small a penny and a quarter increase on the sales tax. It has gone up. It's just the government spends a lot more money, and something that we have to look at as a whole spending.
What changes would you like to see in Massachusetts in the next 5 years?
Well, obviously, the biggest, we have to solve this opioid crisis. That's huge. It's hurting a lot of families. We have pretty good growth now in Massachusetts, and the best way that we can continue the growth is to keep our taxes low. Because when the government takes more money out of our pocket, again, it takes more disposable income that we have. That way we can't go to a store, we can't go to a restaurant at night. So we need to keep taxes low because we know how to spend our money the best. The taxpayer knows how to spend the money the best, not Beacon Hill, not the legislators and the senators that live up there that watch over our dollars. So that's important. And also, again, is we just need to. The number one priority, I think, is the opioid issue. That's affecting a lot of families in the current environment. So,
what are your thoughts on the three Massachusetts ballot questions? The patient-to-nurse limits.
Question one, the nursing
Mm-hmm.
question.
Mm-hmm. Yes, patient-to-nurse.
Right now, I'm leaning yes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know I see the pros and the cons of this. I've talked to quite a few people, nurses, I should say, in regards to the yeses and the nos. It seems to me that the nurses in the hospitals closest to us are supportive of it, mm-hmm. but the nurses that work in the city of Boston are opposed to it. So I think we need to just I personally, I think the issue with the yes question is that it goes into effect too fast. And I think it gives us, the middle of December for it to be fully implemented.
Yeah.
And then again, it's also, the question no people would be that it's just getting government into the hospitals. So I have to look at it a little bit clearer. So I haven't quite made up my mind on how I'm going to vote for that yet.
Number 2 is the Commission on Limiting Election Spending and Corporate Rights.
Yeah, that what's that? Set up a 15-member commission to make.
Talking about overturning Citizens United.
Yeah, Citizens for the Supreme Court decision, 2010, which would essentially take. I think that what that decision, it allowed corporate donations to political campaigns, and I think they wanted to mirror it after pretty much what the unions can do, unlimited spending. Not so much in unlimited spending, but allow corporations to make contributions as well.
And if this question were passed, it would, as you said, it would create a 15-person commission, which would make decisions on how they would deal with Citizens United.
But I think it would also be a constitutional amendment, and I think we have to be careful in terms of how we change the Constitution. Do we want to get the Constitutional amendment into the Constitution into political public financing? I don't think I'm ready for that yet.
And the Transgender Anti-Discrimination Act?
Well, it's that's another one. I mean, I sit on the plumbing board in Boston, and we get quite a few variance requests for transgendered, neutral gendered bathrooms. I can see both sides of the coin here. I just think we have to maybe take it a little slow to get the bigger picture of it. I mean, I can see the yes, where to keep the law as is, and I can see the no's, which would pretty much repeal allowing self-identification of that particular moment in time for bathroom use. So, again, I don't have a full answer on that one yet.
If you were elected, what would your priorities be moving forward?
Well, I think the priorities that we need to look at is to continue the growing of the economy. I'm a small businessman. I own a small plumbing business. And I think low tax is key. I think keeping more disposable money into our income is important, into our pockets is important, because the consumer is what creates the growth of the economy. By lessening the burden of the government taking money out of our pocket, it gives us more disposable income, which will create larger growth in the economy. Another area that I think is concerning is, as I said, I'm a plumber, and right now we have such a shortage of skilled labor in not just in plumbing, but in all the trades. I think we need to address that a little bit clearer. Maybe guide more students toward a trade, plumbing, electrical, carpentry, whatever the case may be. Because in a few years there'll be a huge shortfall of licensed tradesmen, and I think in the long run that will impact construction costs. So I think we have to look at that a little bit clearer, come up with a more defined plan.
How important do you think bipartisan politics is, and how would you work across the aisle with the other side?
That's huge. It's huge. I mean, as a matter of fact, a lot of supporters that are behind me are on the other side of the aisle, if you will. They are Democrats. It's funny, back in my other life as a state representative, when I won back in the 90s, they put you into temporary office space according to alphabetical order. And my opponent was a guy by the name of Bob DeLeo. So Bob DeLeo was the Speaker of the House. I made a prior to he was a Speaker, obviously. So if it's something that I need for the district, or the district needs, I don't have an issue with going to the Speaker. My opponent, on the other hand, has just burnt too many bridges to go back to leadership, go back to and make a deal, make an issue that will work out for the best interest of the people in the district.
If you're elected and you had your choice of committees to be assigned to, what would you pick?
Well, I think I'd like to get on housing and urban development again, because I've been a member of the local housing authority for 20 some odd years. I enjoy that local contact with the seniors and the elders that we have in town. I might try for Ways and Means. That is a fiscal body. Obviously, it's the purse strings of the legislature. And myself being in small business, and what better connection do I have than having my own business? And that's what's needed. The state needs to be run like a business. I run my business like a business. I mean, I've been in business for 27 years, so I think when you just get back to the basics and realize that it is our money, it's our tax dollars.
What would you most like voters to know about you before the election?
Well, about me is that I've only been into this for 2 months. I didn't plan on doing this 2 months ago. It's because of the incumbent that just pushed me over the top, made me make the move to be forward. It's just that I'm an average guy. I'm a plumber. I got my own plumbing shop. I got a few guys that work for me. I see what it's like out there in the real world. You know, I tell people, I just don't sign the back of a paycheck. I sign the front of a paycheck. So I employ people that support families. That's who I am. I see the needs out there. I see the problems that exist in the day-to-day, you know, living of families. I see firsthand what it's all about. I'm not a career politician, and I don't intend to be a career politician. I enjoy doing what I'm doing in the private sector. I'm active in West Bridgewater, as people know, and that's it. I will not be a career politician. And I tell people as I knock on the door, if you don't like the job that I'm doing, don't re-elect me in 2 years. It's as simple as that. I'm not going to make this a career. I've got a good career. I've got a great plumbing business going on right now.
If anybody wants to know more about your campaign, where can they go to look?
Well, they can go to our Facebook or my website. It's johncruzforrep.com. That's John Cruz with the number 4rep.com. Or they can give us a call, 508-588-8683, which is 588-VOTE. And people see me around town. I mean, I'm all around. I'm all over the place. So it's very easy to get in touch with me.
All right. Are there any closing remarks you'd like to add?
It's just that I'd like to say I appreciate you, giving me the opportunity to be on your show today. And I'm looking forward to the election November 6th. My name is John Cruz. I'm a candidate for state representative. And I think that we can make a difference. Together we can lead forward, we can move forward, make a difference on Beacon Hill. You'll have a voice up there, someone that's not an embarrassment to the district, an embarrassment to the town. I will be a voice up on Beacon Hill. And thank you.
All right. Thank you for being with us.
Thanks, Tim.